Now that we can open up a message of our choice, we are missing a useful feature, being able to navigate back to the messages overview. Right now, we can only do this by clicking an item in the left-hand menu, but it would be convenient to have a back button. First, we need to open up the content component and add a way for us to retrieve the previous view. For that, I will add a computed property alongside the current view one. So I will name this previous view, and I'm going to return an expression. So I will check the type of the history array at index 1, and if this is not undefined, i.e. we have a previous view, then I will return the value at this index of the array, and otherwise, meaning that we don't have a previous view, so that we are on the first view since the page loaded, then I will return null. So let's go to the view message component and add a button to the template. And I'll just add a button within this div and add some bootstrap classes. And within here, I want to add an icon, which is an arrow left. So fa.fa-arrow-left, again using the font awesome library. And I'll just add an attribute, area hidden true, and add some text saying back. Now this button should have a click event handler, which will invoke a method named navigates back. And let's implement this event handler within the methods object that we'll add right now. So navigate back. And now I want to get the details of the previous view, i.e. the view that we just came from. But how do we do that? We added a computed property for that, but that was on the content component. Well, there are a couple of ways we could do that. We could pass in the previous view object as a property by using the vbind directive. We could also pass it along within the data object that we already passed to the component. Or we could access the parent component through a special property named $parent. As the name suggests, this lets us access the parent component instance, and thereby we can access the previous view computed property. So let's store this in a variable named previous view and assign it to this $parent being the parent component instance .previous view being the computed property. Now just a small disclaimer. This is not really the best approach because we are coupling the two components pretty tightly, because we are assuming that the parent component has a certain property. This means that the chances of us not being able to reuse the view message component in other contexts are higher, or at least we would possibly need to refactor it in the future. Nevertheless, I'm going to go with this approach because it's simple, and I wanted to show you the $parent property in action. Feel free to choose another approach if you're following along. Let's now emit an event to change the view and set the information to that of the previous view. So for this, I will need to access the event bus. So I'll begin by importing that from the main.js file. Like that. And as you've seen before, I will use the $emit method and issue an event called change view, exactly as we did before, and send along some data. And this data is just going to be the tag on the previous view object. So previous view.tag, the same for the title, previous view.title, and last but not least, the same for the data, previous view.data. And before opening up the browser, I can see that I made a typo here. This had to be previous view. Alright, so now let's try to open up the browser, refresh the page, and let's just open some message and try to click the back button. And as you can see, now we can navigate back. And let's try the same for the sent view. Open one here, navigate back, and now you can see that I'm navigating back to the sent view, so we're going back to the context of the previous view. And with that, let's add some more actions when viewing a message, starting with a button that deletes a message.